Welcome to the ideaHUB Innovators Podcast, where we spotlight the innovators and changemakers using entrepreneurship to drive impact and uplift communities. I'm your host, Dr. Letitia Vickery, an educator, researcher, and business strategist passionate about helping entrepreneurs turn vision into reality. In this episode, I'm joined by Avi Mukherjee, who is currently Hofstra University's pre-award grants manager and the past assistant director of grant writing and management at Hofstra's Institute of Innovation and Entrepreneurship. With over 8 years of experience supporting interdisciplinary research and strategic initiatives, Avi joins us to share expert tips on navigating the world of grant writing, how to position your ideas, build strong proposals, and secure funding to fuel innovation. You won't want to miss this practical and insightful conversation. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. With us today is...
Hi, my name is Avi Mukherjee. I'm the Assistant Director of Grant Writing and Management at the Institute of Innovation and Entrepreneurship at Hofstra University's Frank G. Zarb School of Business.
So welcome, Avi. We're so glad to have you on the podcast. I'm really excited for our conversation today because of your wealth of knowledge and all of the experience that you are bringing to the table and how much the listeners are going to learn about the differences and nuances when pursuing a grant. But talk to us about your background a little bit. How did you get into this kind of work?
Thank you so much, Letitia, for having me. It's a pleasure being here. And so speaking to my backgrounds, I actually feel a little old because I have 20 years of professional experience and about 12 years of direct experience in developing and managing multi-institutional, multidisciplinary research and training grants across private and public R1 institutions of higher education. And in that role, I've managed over, many direct reports and also about $80 million in state and federal funding.
Wow, what amazing work you've done over the course of your career. We all know how important grant funding becomes to the support of institutions like the Institute for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. So let's get into the work that you do at the Institute, right? You do such great work in bringing in grant funds, which we know is so important to supporting our local community members, right? Because those grant funds help to provide the programming that they can tap into. So perhaps start with talking about who are the stakeholders that the Institute serves, and then maybe you can provide a few examples of the type of programming and the funding that helps to support those programming.
Thank you. That's a great question. So our eyes always on the people that we serve.
Right.
So in being in an institution of higher education, our primary stakeholders are our students and our faculty. And with the students also come alumni. So our focus, the stakeholders that we serve are primarily current Hofstra students, alumni. Along with that, we also serve minorities, women,
right,
and veteran business owners.
Right.
And we have programs that help to develop their businesses.
Tell me more about these programs and the resources behind the programs.
Absolutely. So the two programs that I'd like to talk about are the ideaHUB Incubator Program and the Entrepreneurship Assistance Center Program. Both of these are funded by the Empire State Development, and which is essentially the New York State funds, right? But two completely different programs. For instance, the ideaHUB Incubator Program is supported through the New York State Business Development and Hotspot Grant Program.
Okay.
Whereas the EEC the Entrepreneurship Assistance Center program, it's a lot older, and it is primarily focused towards the community business owner, the micro enterprises, right? And so two programs that have a similar kind of program goals, but they serve slightly different audiences or clients. So again, I would bring it back to the Idea Hub. That is primarily to milestone-driven kind of business development program supported through mentorship, such as our Entrepreneurs in Residence program. And then you have an incubator coordinator who is actually kind of is the point of contact, right? So this is the first person that a student or a minority business owner, veteran, what have you, would meet. That's your first place that she will, kind of determine where you're at. Do you have what stage are you at? Let's just say,
Right.
and depending on that, develop a milestone develop program that might work for you. So these two programs that I mentioned are cumulatively worth 1.2 million to serve for the next 5 years. So that's starting 2024 through 2029.
Okay, wonderful. So, really, we want to get into the crux of why you're here, and that is to share tips with our audience about how to pursue grant funds. What are, the ins and outs that they might want to think about? You have this wealth of knowledge on both sides, right? Pursuing the funds, being the person who is reviewing the applications, right? So let's get into it. Now, if a person, a business owner, is looking for grant funding that could potentially support different parts of their business, and I know this is such a general question because grant funding is targeted, right?
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Where might they even look to find potential calls for proposals or requests for, where do they go to as a resource?
I mean, those are like multiple questions right there, and really all great ones. And we'll start at how might they begin. As a business owner, I understand it can be overwhelming. You wear multiple hats to then look out for these so many opportunities out there. What is even a good fit for me? So I would prompt you to begin with your why. Why are you here? If you want to bring it back, that might look like your story or your capability statement, because remember, people always fund other people. Right? So once you have that story, then next, think about a good fit.
Yeah.
Right? So what is a good fit, right? What might be a good fit for me would not be a good fit for you. So it's very important to not get sucked into that, like I always say, don't drink the Kool-Aid, right?
Right.
It might look great, but it might turn out to be a nightmare because you'd soon realize that you've taken more than you can chew on. So then to establish the fit, here are some things that you might do.
Okay.
So I say, okay, look quickly through a funding opportunity. They might be called RFP. They might be called by different names. So I'd like to call them a opportunity call. And those can be really huge, right? 50 pages sometimes. And you're like, what the hell? And
Right.
So there, you don't have to look through the entire 50 pages. Go directly through what are they looking for, the scope of work, or look at review criteria, because they will break it down by 20% towards, planning, 15% towards your previous work, 50% on expertise and knowledge. So look at those areas and see. And, I'm being more, this is more generic. So each goal will kind of list those specifications for your review criteria. If you look at it and you looks good, I think I fit what I want to do fits. This could work for me, right? And then go back to see, are there anything that might, even though it looks good, it might not work for you. A good place to do that is, again, look at what this particular agency has previously funded.
Okay.
And what, the number. What was the award number? So when you do sort of a literature review, you look like it's also your competitive analysis. You get to know, here's another business owner in your category. They pursued this goal and received this X amount of funding. How might I break in? Can I receive funding from this agency? Once you have established that fit, make sure you reach out to the program manager or the point of contact listed on that call. They are your champion. They're there to help you. Reach out and ask your questions, but make sure that you have your capability statement. So that's where I'd say, start with that. And once you do that, submit.
Yeah.
Because, it is a long drawn process. The more you submit, it's the practice. You get better at it.
Yeah.
And then your chances of getting funded also increases, but you need to be strategic.
Right. So know your why, your capability statement, right? Going back
Very
to your
important.
story.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
I love that you said that. Remember, it's people reviewing people.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Right. So when you were on that side of things, when you were in the spaces where you were reviewing grant proposals and applications, what were the things that helped to make people more competitive?
Great question. So we also understand, when we talk about what would make a particular application more competitive, we are also mindful of the different folks applying for that opportunity, right? So we do look at, first, of course, it's going to be a fit, a chemistry test, because yes, what you're suggesting, your idea might be phenomenal, but unfortunately it does not fit with our objectives as the grant program to which you're applying to. So I would be gentle in that manner in redirecting them, saying, I see this is absolutely great, but let me put you in touch with this other program manager, and I think you'd be a great fit under that program. And I'll be happy to make the connections and, give you that. That's the feedback that we provide. It would be ideal if we had that going sooner, like not at the review process, which is, after the application deadline, the window has closed.
Right.
So that's why we encourage, as a reviewer, as a program manager, being on the other hand, not the applicant, but the one giving out the grants, we say, reach out to us right when you see the call, reach out to us before your application, because all that you're putting in so much of your energy in putting together an application, which might be tedious. It might sometimes it could be just one page. Sometimes you might need to provide other documents, right? The proof of work and what have you. And before going into all of that, just make sure you have that one page and kind of email the person listed as the point of contact, and they will get back to you, right? Start that process then. But it's to be competitive, the first thing you need to know is understand the areas a particular sponsor is keen on funding. And then go with why you, why now, and what is unique. So what's your value proposition? And do you have in that category, we always look for the best value, right? So it need not be the applicant that offer the least amount, but it's the best, literally best bang for your money, for your tax dollars, so to speak.
And what are the things that an applicant would put in their proposal that increases your confidence that this person will take the funding and fulfill what they said they would do?
Excellent question. So again, I know I'd be like, my needle seems to be stuck in the capability statement. So that's like your resume. It's a one-pager. On that resume, right? Like on that capability statement, keep it short, keep it succinct. So who you are, your business address, your business contact information, make sure that if they reach out using that email or that phone, that it's live and you can be reached at it, because otherwise it's going to be a missed opportunity, even though you have them listed on your capabilities statement.
Right.
Next thing, you have, what kind of a business are you? What services do you offer? So the key 5, 3 or 4, or if you have more, that's fine. Just list them as a bullet point. Don't go too deep. Just list them. And when in doubt, just check look for what they have previously funded and across the board. So you would know the priority sections within your business category. And if it's a fit for you, meaning that you already are capable of providing those services, that's why the capabilities statement. And then have a few examples of your previous work right there, right? If you don't have one, don't worry. But if you do, you want to put out every opportunity out there. And then if you're familiar with the NACE code, then have that there. These are some things that, when a program manager looks at it, look like, oh, they know what they're talking about. It gives a signal that, okay, they've been through this, they know about this, it'll be easy to work with them. Again, people work with people. So
that's wonderful. Okay. You guys are hearing it here. All of the tips and guidance, the nuanced things that you really need to pay attention to when pursuing these grants, right? So now, what are some resources? What are some sites that people might go to if they're looking for grant funding?
Excellent questions, right? There are multiple resources and you have to choose what's right for you, and so that you're not overwhelmed by them. One good resource, if you are a New York State business owner, or you're thinking of starting a business in New York State, is the New York State Contract Reporter. It lists all of the current fundings, future fundings, and also it has an archive of funding, so you could even check what has been previously funded, who got funded, won those contracts, all of those great information. So that would be the first place to check, because we're talking about business owners. Maybe they might require state certification. You get all of that knowledge in one platform. Then you can also check out the MWBE website, the Minority Women and Women-Owned Business website. It has a directory. You're able to place an ad on that directory but you need to first, create an account. But that's a different thing. But this is a great resource to start.
Okay.
And then, of course, you might want to reach out to your local chapters of, what might I say, SCORE, or your community partners. You might even want to go to your CDFIs, like BAC, and reach out to them, and they might be able to help us. Or you may even come to us.
Right.
Because we are a EAC center. Because of that, we also provide these we call them technical assistance. So depending on where you are at, what you need, we'll be able to quickly find you, kind of match you either with a business counselor or in a mentor in residence, or connect you to our internal resources. And I might shout out to Dr. Letitia Vickery. She's a great resource herself. And we have other faculty that might be able to help you as well. So, yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So we applied to this grant, right? And by we, I mean you, audience, right? I'm a business owner. I applied to this grant. I got the grant. What next?
Oh, I know, right? It's like, what do I do now? I now have a grant. And I thought I was going to just focus on the programmatic side of things. What about these other needs? Okay, I need help, right? So what you need to do is quickly, again, look at your award of notice, right? And in that, you will see your scope of work and the budget. So this is a negotiation phase, right? You want to see, did they fund the dollar amount you requested, or did they, kind of suggest a few adjustments to the budget? So figure that one out first, and then submit a revised budget and a scope of plan that matches with it. I don't think it's going to be a completely different one, but you might have to think about reducing by 5% or something. It is how it is. And then go on first your personal, right? If you've listed any personal, if you need to hire someone, make sure you follow the rules there. And that's typically, that's what you're going to be doing in the first quarter. You're just setting up you're operationalizing your grant, right? What that means is you're making sure that you're able to handle that grant, meaning if you've received 20,000, do you have you have liquidity to kind of carry that? If not, do you need some kind of loan to kind of bear those costs until you get reimbursed from the state? So think about all of those, your personal needs. By personal, I mean people that you need to help you work on, like they are to run the program, to coordinate, manage data, to help you with the budget needs, right? To keep a track of whether you're spending the money as you need it to spend. So what we call that as a burn rate, making sure that you are carrying out the program objectives as delineated on the narrative that you submitted, and you're also spending the funds toward that. And so that is something you want to be mindful of. Other than that, just do what you need to do. That's what you're best at. And yes,
all right,
ask questions. You reach out to if you have, if you're unsure about, the language, it is in English. Can someone explain to me in clear, not legal verbiage, but what does it mean? Just email your program manager. They're more than happy to help you. Or you can reach out to your fellow, incubator space, such as the ideaHUB or EAC at Hofstra, and we'd be happy to help again.
That's wonderful. Such great facts, because I think not many people think about that other side of what it means to get a grant. Like you pursue the grant funding and you're thinking, okay, I have this program, I want to run it. I'm pursuing additional capital, additional resources, but there's so much more that comes with that. Now, what if I'm the person, they're both the same people, because you said, when you start apply to many, because you're only going to get a few. Right. So I'm also the person that didn't get the grants I applied for. What do I do in that instance?
Great question. First, don't lose heart. And it helps to kind of be surrounded by fellow business owners, because trust me, they're all going through a similar process. So to have that knowledge that, you're not the only one. That helps. Having said that, if you need a moment to mope and cry, do that. Then get back again, review the feedback and apply again, right? And look at other opportunities. Maybe while looking for funding from a particular sponsor, you want to kind of not put all your eggs in one basket. You might say, hey, are there any pitch competition, any other kind of activities going on where I might participate and win that might help to raise capital or support my business needs? And again, shameless plug, we have, the multiple pitch competitions through our programs at Hofstra. We have one coming up for our students called the Lion's Den, where, but it's specifically for the Hofstra students, though. They get an opportunity to pitch to win cash prizes that they might use to develop their business.
Yeah.
Similarly, we will have pitch competition for our EAC program, and we have a cohort going on right now, right? So this cohort will have an opportunity to pitch their idea in December for prize money. So, something to think about. And if not now, come back in fall. We'll have another program too.
Right.
So, that's how and we're not the only ones. You can look out other similar resources across the island. And even by that, I mean Long Island, as well as Queens County. And you can go to Nassau County or even Suffolk. There are just multiple places. I would name a few, some EAC centers perhaps. So in Suffolk, if you go to the Suffolk Community College, that they have an EAC program as well. They have similar programs there. That's one of the resources where you could reach out to.
Okay.
And also, obviously, I would say more about our program. So come see us.
All right. Awesome. Now, a personal question for you, right? You've been doing this work, providing such great support to institutions and businesses along the way in various capacities. What do you want your legacy to be?
Wow. That's a great question. So, I've always focused on the joy side of things, right? My legacy, I'd like to think I was able to fund programs, new programs, or expand programs that might support a wider audience and get more dollar amounts, so that my legacy would be to she cared. But I know that seems like trivial, but it's just that to make sure that in the best way that I can to support, find money and funding to support as many programs and as many businesses as I can. So, yeah.
That's an awesome legacy. It starts person to person, right? And the level of care that you have applied has already made such a wonderful impact.
Thank you.
So if people want to tap into some of those resources that you spoke about at the Institute for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, where do they go? How do they find you?
Great question. I think the first thing they would need to do is reach out. You can reach out to Eric Hunt, or you can email them, or you can reach out to me at my email at avi.mukherjee@hofstra.edu, or you could call me at 516-463-5222. Happy to help. And of course, don't just stop there. You could also reach out to Dr. Vickery right here. Awesome resource. You could reach out to April Jones and my colleague Joy Williams, or any of us, we'd be more than happy to help you.
Right.
Yeah.
And all these names are searchable. Search the name plus Hofstra, and the contact information will pop up.
Yeah, great one, because it's the first name, last name at hofstra.edu. So the names that I mentioned, you could look them up that way too, if you like.
Yes. So, Avi, we just want to thank you for spending your time with us here on the podcast, for sharing such valuable information, which I will take advantage of. Hope you are too. And we wish you all the best as you make impact one person at a time, one program at a time.
Right.
Just by showing that you care. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure being here. I hope it was useful to our listeners and our viewers. And thank you.
Thank you. And so, listeners, thank you so much for joining us on another episode of the podcast. We'll see you next time.